Welcome to Vegan Finds, where we're going to turn this into this ZweibelKuchen, also known as onion tart. Those two missing pieces are already in my stomach. So stick around and I'll show you how to make it. Welcome back, folks, to Vegan Finds, and in continuation of OktoberFest week/month, we are going to be making ZweibelKuchen, which is basically an onion tart. The onion tart's going to have, obviously, onion. It's going to have some leek. It's going to have some garlic. We're going to throw in some bell pepper in there as well. Going to add a little bit of cheese to the mix. Kind of going to be like French onion in a tart. So we're going to caramelize the onions. You've seen me do this before. I'm going to make a gluten-free pie crust. I'm going to use flax seed to do this, some gluten-free flour, and that's basically going to be the basis of our pie crust. Throw it in the oven for half an hour, probably 20 minutes in. Throw some cheese on top, get it nice and ooey gooey and delicious. And that's it. I mean, this is pretty easy. One of the lesser complicated dishes that we are making. So the first thing I'm going to do is start by making our pie dough. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is make a flax egg. So I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of ground flax seed. Uno. Dos. Although I should be eins, zwei. I don't know why I said it in Spanish, but the container I have is from a Spanish company. That could be why. And to this I'm going to add 5 tablespoons of water. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm just going to mix that up, and I'm going to let it sit because it needs to kind of coagulate. I don't know if there's a better word for that, but it'll take about 5 minutes for this to kind of gelatinize and be of an eggy consistency. So while we're waiting on that, got my bowl. I'm just going to move this out of the way. Got my bowl here, and I'm going to use a half a cup of hazelnut flour. The only reason I'm using it is I've had this for a while. Don't really use it for anything, so I want to get rid of it. So I got a half a cup of hazelnut flour. I would use almond flour, normally speaking, for this, but we are using hazelnut for this particular recipe. Got that. I'm going to now add 1 cup of gluten-free flour. Adding 1 cup of Bob's Red Mill gluten-free flour. Okay, in this little dish I have 2.5 tablespoons of coconut oil, which I am going to just microwave for 15 to 30 seconds. If it's not fully melted, that's fine, because we're just going to add this to our flour mix with the flaxseed, and then we're just going to get to mixing the dough up. Okay, so here's our flax egg, and you can see it's gotten very gelatinous. Just going to add that in like that. Going to add our somewhat melted coconut oil, sorry, to this. I'm going to add just a little pinch of salt to this. I'm going to use the truffle salt because I like it. Oops. It just smells so good. So going to throw that into the dough. And truffles and onions go well together. So, and we're just going to start mixing this up until it comes together as a dough. Probably going to have to use my hands. I may have to add a little bit of water to this. But you can do this in a food processor. Go a lot quicker. But then you can't see what the dough looks like if I did it. So I'm going to continue to mix this up. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so our dough is now ready to go into our tart pan. I definitely would recommend using the almond flour as opposed to hazelnut flour. So I'm going to start by prepping the tart pan. Basically what we're going to do is I sprayed the tart pan with some baking cooking spray, and you're just going to basically spread this around. This will fit an 8-inch pie tart or tart pan. I have no idea how big this pan is, but you're just basically going to smush it in. Use your fingers. Kind of just need to press in the holes and just keep going until it comes up the sides. And once this is pressed in, you're going to set it aside and make the filling. You're going to preheat the oven to 350. That was a hint. So, and if for some reason the dough is too crumbly, just continue to add coconut oil. If you don't have coconut oil or you're allergic to coconuts, you can use any kind of, you can use vegetable shortening, you can use vegan butter. It doesn't really matter. You just want to get this dough so it's pliable and able to put in there. Basically, when it comes to things like baking, fat is fat. It doesn't really matter what the source is. It essentially accomplishes the same thing. So I'm going to keep going around here and get this done, and now I'm going to start making the important part, the filling. So I got my pan next to me, heating up with about tablespoon of oil, and now I'm just going to dice up my bell pepper, and we're just going to start throwing this stuff into the pan here. You can hear it sizzling. You want like a medium dice, not too small, not too big. Then I'm going to dice up the onion and I'm going to slice up the leek. The leeks I'm going to do a little bit finer. I'm just going to eat that. I'm hungry. I love red pepper. Woo! Almost had to run away. Gotta watch those onions. They like to roll. Again, I'm just kind of rough chopping these. You want your pie to have a little bit of varying texture, since the peppers take a little bit longer to cook than the onions will. I want to make sure that they're cooked. And once I got everything in, I'm going to make basically a somewhat non-traditional slurry that'll help thicken up the tart while it's baking, so it all kind of sets together properly. Alright, so I got the peppers in. Now I'm going to just chop up our onion. Again, we're just, this is an overripe onion right here. Woo! Rough chop. I'm going to get all these in. Going to do that. Going to throw in some garlic cloves too. Going to run the garlic cloves through a press. But you get the picture. We're not doing precision cuts here. Not today. Alright, I'm just going to show you, slice up the leek. Basically, leeks can be really dirty, so you're going to want to slice it down the middle, like so. You're going to run it under some water. Make sure there's no dirt in the middle, in between the leaves, depending on how they're grown. If they're grown in sand, these can be super sandy. I'm going to finish chopping this up. I'm going to chop this up, put it in there, and then I will show you the next step. Sliced up my leeks. They're going into the pan. I still have a little bit more onion to do. Then I can move this all over so you can see what's going on in the pan. Just going to give it a quick stir. Oh, it smells great. These onions are super potent though. Woo! Making my eyes water. Okay, I think that's going to be enough onion. It's basically filling the pan here. These were particularly large onions. You know what? What am I going to do with half an onion? If I got too much filling, I got too much. I'll use it for something else. There we go. Okay, so everything's into the pan right now. Now the garlic can wait till the very last minute. You don't want to burn the garlic, so we're going to let this cook down. And once it's cooked a little bit, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so you're going to want to let this cook for about 15 minutes. If you have a lid, put a lid on. It'll help facilitate the cooking process a little bit. Onions are already starting to caramelize. In the last 5 minutes of the cooking, add your garlic to this. We're going to be adding, let me see, 3 cloves of garlic to this. And so once this is ready, I will show you what the next steps are. Okay, so to this little bowl I'm adding 1/3 cup of water. I'm adding 3 tablespoons of chickpea flour. And I'm going to whisk this together. Okay, so I'm whisking this together. Then I'm going to add a tablespoon of cornstarch. If you're allergic to corn and you don't want to use cornstarch, you can use tapioca flour, tapioca starch, or potato starch. Anything with the word starch. Manioc flour, which is the same thing as tapioca flour, that's a starch. It's not really a flour. The onions are cooking down real nice. They look delicious. So I'm going to get the cornstarch right now. Heaping tablespoon of cornstarch. Turn off timer. A half a teaspoon of paprika. Add my garlic to the pan. Now I'm going to add to my little bowl here some cumin, about a half a teaspoon of cumin. I'm not really measuring it. I'm going to add some onion powder now. This I'm going to add about a teaspoon, as opposed to a half. And some salt. So I'm going to add 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And we're going to whisk this all together. This is going to be our flavor enhancer. To our pie. Now I'm also going to add a tablespoon of tamari to this. Comes the fun part. We're going to add our chickpea mix to this. We're going to give it a stir, and this will start to thicken up pretty quickly, as you can see. And I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of almond milk as well, and my tablespoon of tamari. Okay, we're just going to give this a quick stir. We're going to let it absorb some of this liquid for a couple minutes, and then we're going to put it in our pie tart shell. Then we're going to pop it in the oven for 20 minutes until it is done. Looks great. Getting ready. Okay. Now, if you wanted to add some vegan cheese to this, at this point you can. I'm going to layer mine on top midway through the baking process, so I can get like a little bubbly crustiness on top. But this is ready to go. I'm going to get the tart out now, and I'm going to start scooping it in. Add the filling. Oh, it smells great. That much I can tell you. I could just eat it like this, quite honestly. But those of you who know me know I love onions. Probably smell like onions half the time, because I'm always chopping them, cutting them, caramelizing them. Like to have a thing of caramelized onions hanging around all the time, just to snack on. I mean, it's a little bit much, I think, for most people, but not for me. So I'm just gonna get this as much leveled off. There's plenty left in here, and try and get some more of the red pepper of this. All right, this looks awesome. All right. Okay, so now this is going to go in the oven, and it's going to bake for 20 minutes at 400 degrees. I would check it at 15 minutes. Actually, yeah, I would check it at 15. Just make sure it's not browning too quickly. Also depends on your tart shell. This might take longer because it's a ceramic as opposed to the metal, but stick around. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. With 10 minutes to go, I'm going to layer some cheese on top. So this is not going to look this way, but you'll see how great it looks when it's done. Okay, so I just shredded some Miyoko's Farmhouse cheddar cheese, which is obviously vegan. It's a really terrific product. And I'm going to sprinkle this onto our tart in a little bit. All right, so now we're going to add the final touch. Some organic crispy onions that are gluten-free and vegan. I'm just going to sprinkle those suckers on. And there you have it. ZweibelKuchen, also known as onion tart. Why don't you get a doohickey to slice this up?
Oh, this is going to not be fun.
So while Doris is getting, you know what? Use the pizza cutter. So if you like these recipes, please click subscribe. Click subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Leave a comment. Give us a thumbs up. Oh wow. Oh, it smells good. Give us a thumbs up. Tell your friends. Oh my God, you're butchering this, babe. So, you know, seriously. At least make an attempt to cut an even line here.
Now, why would I do that?
Are we going to cut it smaller?
Yeah. I mean, you're the only person I know who could eat
the whole pie?
The half of the tart.
Yeah. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on some other service. What? Twitter. That's it. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, there you go. I can't do it. So you can get the little side view there. Oh, it's so good. Here you go, babe.
Thank you.
So be safe, enjoy, and stick around. We'll have other kitchen disasters in a moment.